Hi everyone, my name is Robert Annis. I'm here with Phil and Roy, and this is Agile Principle, raw and uncut. Today we're going to be looking at, interestingly, a UK government and how they are viewing Agile in the work that they're doing. It's quite interesting to look at organisations like governments, because not only are they some of the groups that we look at as being hard to change, but also they kind of set the standard, because if they're doing it, all private enterprises really have to be doing it, because we expect them to be the slow ones. So gents, what's your interest in this kind of area? Phil, you're very much focused on coaching training as well. So are you looking to see what governments can do for you? Do you think they should do more Agile?
I think they should. In fact, I think the UK government is a really nice example of how this could be done. Not should, but could. I think they're along the right lines in that they have a special place on the .gov.uk website for Agile. I mean, that blew my mind when one of my trainer friends sent me this link, and I got really curious and I had to check out the link. And this is what I saw. First of all, I saw the gov.uk. I'm like, wow, this can't be real. And I looked at it because it's very strange to see a government actually trying to present an Agile context at any level. So this really got me excited, and I began to wonder if Boris and his cohorts knew that this existed and if they were using this way of thinking in any of the things they were doing. So I found this to be pretty remarkable. Roy, I know in the US there is something somewhere, but it's so hidden. To me, what the UK government had done was more, right there in the public, but I don't really know of any other government that is doing this the right way. So I don't know, just taking a look at it on the surface and seeing the link is a legitimate link to .gov.uk. What do you think, gents, regarding this? You think this is a good move, a remarkable move?
Yeah, I think it's a good step. First, just back to your comment about that it's not hidden. And that's awesome, right? That means that they're actually trying to give it some coverage. They're trying to get it out there and make it public. And it's the government standing behind the choice of this is the direction we're going. And so long as there's support that this is where we're going, then it has a much higher probability that it's actually going to happen. The U.S. has been doing Agile for a long time as well. The U.S. government, anyway, is specifically in the Department of Defense and areas like that. Maybe not necessarily very mature from a process and practice kind of perspective, but they've been doing it, but it's not quite as well known. I'm really happy to see that they're making it very, very public. Rob, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, the gov.uk is the portal used in the UK for the government. So it's how UK citizens interact with the government. So I can sort of file my taxes through gov.uk. I can apply for a driving license, all those kinds of things, passports, everything. So it's nice to actually see this kind of thing, which is, if anything, it's more like a wiki, isn't it? It looks like this is their wiki page of sort of saying this is how we do things. And you can almost imagine this is used internally and externally. I mean, the way it's written, it does look like this is as much for the people doing the projects as it is a promotional tool to say this is how we do things for people outside. So yeah, I think it's really quite interesting. And if you're willing to put it on a public website like this, it's, if anything else, it's a statement. It says this is something that we're committed to, something that we're doing, not just trying it out. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. It certainly sets a standard for the rest of the UK to say, are private organisations as adept as this? Yeah, so I think it's really good. Yeah,
I think that statement right at the top there is really telling there, Phil. Or it says you must use Agile.
I was about to say that. Yes, that is pretty strong. They're not playing games here.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So interesting. Back when in the U.S. when Obamacare was first being enacted, I was very heavily involved in the insurance industry because there were lots and lots of changes coming down because of the new regulations, and the insurance industry really needed to react very quickly because they didn't have a lot of time, from a large organizational perspective to be able to react to those changes. And even back then, when that was going on, the U.S. government was actually mandating that the insurance companies use Agile approaches in order to adopt the new regulations. So I thought that was very, very positive. I would suggest that maybe they didn't follow their own advice, because the website to sign up for insurance was also done using Agile project methodologies, and terrible disaster of a project. Absolute awful. Day one, no one could get in. Just terrible approach. But they at least had the right idea anyway. They just didn't implement it so well.
Yeah. It's so funny. I had a client say to me about a project. Well, we had an Agile project and it failed. So that's why we're not doing it. That's why we're not doing Agile.
Mm-hmm.
And very tongue-in-cheek. And I apologize for my sense of humor, but I couldn't help myself, because it was just such a ridiculous thing to hear an adult say. And so I just looked at him. I just said, so I presume every date with a woman you ever had was perfect, was it? You can see him sort of processing it. And so I was very graduate, no. So you stopped dating women then? If one thing goes wrong, that doesn't mean you stop doing it. It means you go, okay, it didn't work. How do we improve? Right? Whatever it is you're doing. But yeah, Agile's not perfect. Doesn't work every time. Nothing is.
It's a story I love to share. It's my personal Agile journey. A number of years ago, I got my CSM, and I went out and, after my 2-day course and 35 question test, I was an Agile expert. So I went out there and I ran my first Agile project, and it was a monumental failure. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. And my project failed in a big, big way. So everyone was like, oh, this Agile thing, this can't possibly work. I said, no, I was just really dumb. And I've learned a lot. I learned how not to do some things. So we're going to try it again, maybe get better next time, right? I've had lots of waterfall projects fail as well, right? Same thing. So hopefully our government can learn from some of these things and maybe save some taxpayer dollars. Maybe do things a little more effective than, get some value out of what they're doing, rather than just sucking down our tax dollars for unnecessary things.
Absolutely. And hold on to that thought, Roy, because sucking of taxpayer dollars, let's talk about another controversial project here, which is on Wikipedia, and it's called the VCF project. And I find this to be a rather interesting one, because it's from one of my clients, the FBI. But this project has a lot of infamy about it, because it sucked hundreds of millions of dollars. If you read about it, they were trying to replace the antiquated FBI system with a modern one, and they tried and tried and tried. You probably heard the story. But when you fast forward, and we'll put the link below so everyone can read, but there we have the rather interesting word. So the summary of the story is, they lost hundreds of millions. You can see the program lost 104 million in taxpayer money. In addition, the Bureau continued to use the antiquated ACS system, which many analysts felt was hampering the Bureau's new counterterrorism mission. In March 2005, the Bureau announced it was beginning more ambitious software project code named Sentinel to replace ACS. So the bottom line is, they failed using waterfall. They failed monumentally using waterfall. But after several days, new leadership, a slightly bigger budget, and adoption of Agile software methodology, it was completed. Finally, I mean, this had been going on from the early 2000s. They finally did it, but it was Agile that eventually helped them. So the government, they are probably well aware of how Agile has help save the day. I think it just needs to be elevated, definitely in the US. And what we're going to do is put that link to the .gov.uk down below. So anyone in the US who's curious to know, what do they have out there and how can we do something similar? They can just, I mean, after all, we're allies, right? So might as well use what each other,
And in fairness, I hate saying it's just Agile that fixed their problems, right? Because certainly they had, hopefully anyway, they had learned a lot from their previous failures. They did give them a better budget. Maybe they had more focused project teams where it was their only job. So there were probably a lot of factors. I would like to see us, Agile was certainly one of them that helped them to be more successful, because that is how Agile works, right? Is to learn and to improve and get better. So hopefully a collection of those things will work better in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, a collection. So we hope this has given you some ideas. If you're in government and you are seeking to know more about Agile, well, that's maybe how you stumble on this video. Well, don't forget to share it, hit like, subscribe, And you'll find a lot of information about all three of us down below. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.